What if Deku had the Triforce of Courage? A little after the battle with All Might, All For One needed to find a way to heal himself properly, or at least make himself stronger. Some years later, when Deku was about, let's say 14, but still hasn't met All Might yet, One For All has been searching for an ancient artifact, the Triforce, an object that could grant the user any wish they could hope for. Finally, I have found it. But because he doesn't have a balance of wisdom, power, and courage, the Triforce split into 3 parts. The Triforce of Power going to him, and the Triforce of Courage going to Deku. All For One had a new goal, to get the full Triforce. Anyway, I should now get on to Deku. Deku was fast asleep, but as he was dreaming, he saw a bright light and the outline of a triangle. He woke up, looking at his hands, then saw that there was a triangle symbol on one of them, just like his dream. What? How did that get there? He got out of bed and his body was feeling a little bit different, but he didn't really think anything of it. Deku got to school and just did all the work he needed to do. But then in sports class, a piece of equipment started falling on him. Then the triangle in his hand started growing and he lifted up the heavy equipment. I can't believe it. That nerd had a quirk this whole time. Deku was shocked and just started staring at his growing hand as the growing started to fade. Then one of his class members spoke up. Deku, I think your quirk might have just awakened. Everybody was shocked, but then the teacher told them to calm down. Then Deku's mom had to be called so Deku could go to the quirk doctor to see what his quirk was. This is a strange case. Is it bad? Depends. He still has no quirk genes, but he sure has something. It's possible it's a new type of quirk, the first of its kind. I can't really say for sure. Well, do you at least know what it does? We don't know for sure, but it seems to have changed how a subgenial antercingular cortex, which is the part of the brain that controls fear. It has also changed the prefrontal cortex and the amygdala. It has changed how the brain reacts to fears, and has somewhat boosted his bravery and sense of courage. It has changed his muscle mass as well, boosting his body's physical attributes. There are definitely some other things it has done, but we cannot tell which. But why did his quirk come out now? It's a rare case, but sometimes a quirk can awaken under certain circumstances, and it could come out late in general. A quirk can awaken years after it was supposed to, like in Izuku's case. Deku got super excited. He wanted to tell everyone about his new quirk, and he wanted to start training it immediately and seeing what the hidden abilities could be. Now, could you please subscribe for the next video, which will probably be Goku, and yeah, just to support the channel. Anyway, back to the video. Deku was unable to find any hidden abilities, or properly learn how to control the quirk. As soon as Deku went to school that day, everyone was asking him questions. Deku just told them what he was told. If you think even for a second that you're better than me, because you have a quirk now, you're wrong. The day went as normal, with the teacher telling everyone that Deku and Bakugo wanted to go to UA. You still won't be able to go to UA even if you have a quirk. But I haven't finished speaking, nerd. And you have no experience with your quirk, and you don't have enough time to learn how to use it. Even if you're right, I'll train harder than you ever have, and I'll become the #1 hero. Deku and Bakugo started fighting a bit, but then Bakugo's goons just told him to leave, so he did. Meanwhile, Deku was in awe that he actually stood up to Bakugo. He started to take notes about how it was affecting his bravery, then left. He went under an underpass, then a villain jumped at him, but he dodged. But then using one of his arms, the villain grabbed Deku. Deku started trying to whipping out a decent amount of sludge, but it wasn't enough. But then, All Might came out of nowhere, using his fist to launch wind out at the villain. Deku fell unconscious, while All Might apprehended the villain. I almost lost you there. Deku got really excited, seeing All Might in front of him. But then All Might jumped away, but Deku grabbed onto his legs. When All Might saw this, he landed on a building. Please, I have one question to ask you. Can I become a hero even without a quirk? Deku was caught up in the moment, forgetting that he now has a quirk. But a smoke cloud then appeared around All Might, and it looked like All Might deflated. What happened? What happened to All Might? You're an imposter. All Might showed Deku the injury and told him all about, how he got damaged in a fight one day. Well, you see, I actually do have a quirk now, but I only got it yesterday. Do you think I can become a hero, even if I don't know how to control my quirk yet? Well, it depends how technical your quirk is and what it could do. I think if you work hard enough, you definitely could, but it's still very close to impossible. Then All Might left, but he saw that he was missing the villain. Deku was in tears. His idols said that he could become a hero. But then, he saw a massive explosion in the distance and washed over. He saw all the heroes not able to do anything because their quirks don't work in that situation. And then he saw Bakugo being attacked by the villain. Then his legs just started moving on their own. He started running faster than he ever has before and rushed over to the villain, being able to whip Bakugo out of the villain's grip. But then All Might came out, blocking the villain's attacks. Then he launched a Detroit smash at the villain, blowing him away. Then All Might got scolded and went home. But on his way home, he saw All Might. I am here. Then All Might reverted back to his weakened form. All Might, what are you doing here, young man? I came here to thank you, and talk about your question from before. If you hadn't told me about your life, and you hadn't won into that battle, I would have been a worthless bystander, so thanks. Wait, it was my fault he was there in the beginning. I'm not done. You told me you only got your power recently, and had no idea how to use it. So when I saw this timid boy who had no idea how to use his power try to save a life, it inspired me to act too. Young man, you can become a hero. I deem you worthy of my power. Now, do you accept? All Might started explaining one for older Deku, and Deku accepted his power. Now, it was time to clean the beach. Cleaning the beach was a lot easier in this because of Deku's extra strength, but they also found out that Deku had a talent for sword fighting. Like, he immediately knew how to use the weapon, even if it was his first time ever using it. With this knowledge, Deku thought of adding a sword and maybe even a shield to his costume. One night, Deku had a dream of a forest with a massive tree. It looked like it had eyes and a mouth, and then there was a sword in the middle. You finally returned. But then, Deku woke up finding his triangle on his hand glowing. What was that? Deku took note of everything he saw. Then he went to the beach and finished cleaning. All Might came washing. I can't believe it. You actually finished the whole beach with a month to spare. Good job, kid. All Might then transferred one for all to him, but as soon as he ate the hair, the triangle started growing on his hand again. Then he saw the same thing as in his dream, but far more vividly and realistic, and he was actually there. But as soon as he came, he left. Young Midoriya, what happened? I saw a massive tree in the forest, and in the middle of it there was a sword, with the same symbol as on my hand. While for the month, Deku was training with One For All, and actually learned how to use full cowling, and he can now handle up to 10% of the quirk. He also learned how to use a sword pretty well with One For All, and now the only thing standing in front of him in heroism was UA. Find out what happens next time, if you want to.